Big news, Apple TV has bought the rights to Formula One. So starting next year, you can watch Formula One if you have an Apple TV Plus subscription. Now, here's why I bring this up. In regards to Formula One, which I am a big fan of, I've been watching it for years. I've had a Formula One TV premium subscription. Okay. What's cool about this particular subscription, and I don't know what Apple TV is going to do with it, but with this, I can watch the normal race, the way it's broadcasted internationally. I can watch the English version of the race. It's different broadcasters. I can watch the race as a map, or I can jump between different drivers and I can like ride in the car with them, which is like really, really fun. I got an email about 5 minutes ago. Formula TV One is going to be phasing out, which makes sense because Apple TV now owns the rights to it. Here's where it doesn't make any sense. So annual subscriptions from October 17th of this year, fans in the US will no longer be able to purchase new Formula One TV Pro or premium annual subscriptions. Totally makes sense. From November 17th of this year, existing Formula One TV Pro or premium subscriptions will no longer auto-renew. Also makes sense. Considering these changes, this is what this means. Your current subscription, Justin, is up for renewal on November 3rd, 2025. And the next payment will automatically happen on November 3rd. However, TLDR, I'm going to pay for a year that's going to get ended on December 31st. So I can go in and cancel now and not be able to watch anything for the rest of the year. Or I can pay for another year to watch for the next month and a half. I think what this is trying to get me to do is to switch to like a monthly and then just pay monthly for the next 2 months until the 2026 season, when then I can watch it on Apple TV. But it's worded so poorly. They're basically saying like, we're going to take $199 from you for the 2 weeks because we can't figure out math.
Not an uncommon occurrence, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. Well, we want to know who's your favorite Formula One team. Leave us a review, leave some comment in facebook.com/group/allthingsmsp, and stay tuned for another Freaky Friday. I know it's 2 in a row and I apologize, but I got to admit what you're about to learn about some stuff that just happened in my company. Damn, you're going to really freak out. Near.
Operating an MSP sucks. Gozinta is here to make it suck less. With their consulting services, they are your trusted advisors through every step of your MSP's journey, from startup to exit. And their software is crafted with care to ensure that they're solving problems for you and not creating new headaches. Find out more at atmsp.link/Gozinta. That's atmsp.link/Gozinta. Level up your email domain security and deliverability. Reduce business email compromise and reel in that pesky email phishing. Make DMARC a new revenue stream for your MSP. Becoming a managed service provider partner with EasyDMARC is a great opportunity for your business to boost sales and decrease risk. Your customers need DMARC. Your job is to let them know that their email domain might be at risk. Find out more today at atmsp.link/EasyDMARC. That's atmsp.link/EasyDMARC.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the All Things MSP podcast. I'm your host, Justin Esgar. With me always is my good friend and co-host, Beard OS himself. Requires updates every week. Still has bugs. Mr. Eric Anthony. That was a gross one.
Yeah, no bugs here. I can promise.
I was going to go, you know what's so funny is because it's the line above the one I wanted to go with, which was Apple Chintosh. Old school classic still refuses to die. Anyway.
Well, okay, so no bugs, but I definitely could use some updates today because I had no time to straighten and productize, the whole thing. So
yeah.
If you want to see what it looks like when I don't do anything to it, make sure you're watching us on YouTube.
YouTube.com/allthingsmsp. All right, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, not much, but I did see that Apple released new M5 MacBooks.
Yeah, there was a quiet release of some new stuff this week.
And
M5 MacBook, M5 iPad Pro, and the new M5 Vision Pro all came out this week.
okay, because I'm in need of upgrading, right? I still have an M1 Mac. It's a MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
It's been working fine. Should I maybe take advantage of some maybe reduced pricing on M4s, or should I just wait for the M5?
So if you're coming from in my opinion, if you're coming from an M1, either would be fine, right? I'm always a big fan of like get the newest one because like it's already obsolete the second you take it out of the box kind of thing. I think the problem with Apple and the M series chips really is there's no like, maybe this is true in Intel also, I'm not really sure, but like we've reached this point of like diminishing returns on chip improvement, in my opinion, right? Like the whole thing that like if you had back in the day, listen, I know a lot of you probably will remember this, but for the new kids, like we used to have to do things in megahertz. Remember, like you would get like a 300 megahertz, Intel Celeron, and then they were like, no, we have the 400 megahertz. You're like, oh, that's definitely 1/3 faster because we can do math. Right. Now they're like, the M5 is 28% better than the M4. And you're like, how? And they're like, because we told you so. So it's a lot of that. I do also believe that Apple, they're putting a lot of money into like it's built for AI and all this other stuff. But Apple has machine learning since well before the M series anyway. Right. I think you will see a tremendous speed boost from the M1 to either the M4 or M5. But even with that speed boost, it will immediately come down in speed once you start putting stuff on it. Because what kills a computer in general is less about the raw speed of the computer, but what the user is installing at login, at startup, your reg keys, your whatever, right? Yeah. Like this is why back in the OS 9 days, we used to like have extension manager, because if your computer's running slow, turn off all your extensions and start in safe mode and like whatever. And you're like, oh my God, it's so much faster. Yeah, because you installed garbage. The other thing is don't migrate. So this is something that Macs do.
Yeah.
When you turn on your Mac for the first time, it'll be like, hey, do you have a Mac or a PC you want to migrate from? Always say no. Like, yeah, it's a pain in the butt to reset some of your settings, but you're cruft in, cruft out. Like, you don't want that stuff carried over. And if your M1 was slow, when you bring that stuff over, you're just bringing over what was causing the slowness in your M1 into your new ones. I do believe, like, get the new one. I have an M4 laptop that it's not worth it for me to upgrade to the M5. Also, it's just the regular M5. There's no M5 Pro or M5 Max yet. It's just the regular M5. So,
okay.
If you're doing video editing, if you're doing any sort of like audio or video editing, you need a Pro or a Max. If you're doing heavy graphics, you need a Pro. If you're doing, maybe the Max. If your laptop is your like travel laptop and you're using it for like just communication purposes, the M5 is fine, but I would probably go with an M4 Pro or M4 Max, truthfully.
That is good advice, because obviously I do some video editing, the show, obvious. And so, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Is your laptop your daily driver?
It is.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have considered, and we're getting way off topic here because I know you wanted to talk about something else today.
Oh, yeah.
But I have considered going with the Mac Mini. Yeah. And having my desktop, and then my M1 would just be, the laptop for travel and stuff.
So that's what I do, right? I have an M4 Mini here that I like souped up, made it really nice and powerful. It's an M4 Pro with 48 gigs of RAM. I mean, this thing is blazing fast, and I've thrown plenty of garbage on it. And then my laptop it's like bougie for me to say this, is my upstairs computer. You know what I mean? Because like
I have the same thing though,
right? Because like the worst thing is like if you have more than one floor in your house and you're like, I got to go look something up. I don't want to have to schlep all the way downstairs to go do that. But like I have that computer upstairs, and I did buy both at the same time. I will also say, just as a point of reference, if you are going to buy a computer for yourself, and you don't already have one, or if you don't already have one, get the Apple Card, because you can get monthly payments with no interest and 3% cash back on it. So like it makes it nice and easy. The problem that I ran into is that I bought an M4 laptop, an M4 mini, and an M4 iPad Pro all at the same time. So 2 problems. One is my Apple Card bill went up significant every month. And number 2 problem is that like all 3 of them are now in the same timeline. So at some point when, let's say, the M7s come out, I'm going to have to refresh all of it at the same time.
Yeah, that's a little tough. Okay,
Yeah.
One last Apple question, and then we'll get back to the regular.
We've already lost half the listeners because they're like, Apple, I don't want to deal with Apple. It's fine.
The secret is most of them use Apple, though. They just have to support Windows.
Yeah, it's true.
iPad Mini. Any idea when the new iPad Mini might come out?
The best thing I can tell you to do, honestly, because I never know, MacRumors.com has a great, if you look at MacRumors.com, you go to Buyer's Guide, there's always a little chart of like the don't buy neutral.
Okay.
So the iPad Mini lists as a neutral because it's mid product cycle, which means it's been out for about a year. It probably won't get refreshed for another 6 to 9 months at this point. So yeah, you can buy one and you'll be fine. I think anything that comes out for the iPad Mini is still going to be the A series chips. So like, which is what I think they put in the 16E or the 17. What's the iPhone Air?
17 is the most recent.
Yeah, but the iPhone Air I think has the A18 or A19 chip or something like that. Okay. The 17 Pro. Oh, the 17 Pro has the A19 Pro chip. So yeah, they're still sticking with the A chip. So the Mini's going to get an A chip as opposed to an M chip. If you're listening at this point and you're like, what's the difference between an A chip and an M chip? I'll tell you this. I'm an Apple consultant and I don't even know. Like Apple has the A chip, the M chip. I think they have a W chip, they have a C chip, and they have an R chip. The W chip is for their headphones. The C chip is their new cellular modem. And I think the R chip is the one that's in the Vision Pro. And
if we didn't lose them yet.
Yeah, like you think you're lost. Like, yeah, come on.
Okay.
Come on. All right.
Okay, what did you want to talk about? Because I know you teased it in the opening. What's going on?
So I want to talk about something. We talk a lot about the MSPs here and their businesses, and we talk about we've covered so much over the last 2.5 years that we've been doing this show. We've talked about sales, we've talked about marketing, we've talked about exiting, we've talked about documentation, and we've talked about reasons why. And I want to tell a story about how this and by the way, I'm telling this story raw to everyone who's listening. Like, this is a raw story. This happened yesterday and today. And it's not even the story that I wanted to tell. I was going to tell a story about how a computer that we had that got recycled 4 years ago ended up in China. And that's a whole nother story for another episode. That was what I wanted to talk about. And this one is taking precedent because this one is even worse. I'll set the scene and then we'll get into it. So we had an employee who was smart programmer. And we had that programmer do work for us. And we knew that they weren't great at documentation. And we said, we tried to, we were very open and we're like, listen, we know that you're not great at documentation, but if you're going to do this programming, you have to document, or you have to talk to someone else on the team and let them document. We need to know what you're doing because God forbid you get hit by a bus and we don't know how to fix it. And this all was started, I want to say 2 years ago. We had let that employee go earlier this year because there were things we needed him to do and they just weren't doing it. And I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. And they were being super negative and they were bringing down the entire environment. I was like, I don't want this in my business. So we let them go. And things have been fine until today, until yesterday, when we figured out that half the stuff that he built wasn't working. And some of it stopped working. Some of it never worked. And it also has come down to the fact that we have found, and we've yelled about this before, we're not billing properly now to customers. And so like on one single customer, we're short $60, $70. every month for the last 5 months, right? And that's one customer. And the thing is that what this employee was building was Halo doesn't natively connect with Google Reseller. Halo doesn't natively connect with Ignite Reseller. Halo doesn't natively connect with there's some other thing we're using, I forget, Reseller. It does natively connect with PAX 8. So like all of our Microsoft licensing is fine. DNS filter, fine, because we're doing that through PAX 8. Stuff like that. So we built API calls to make Halo connect with Google and these other things. And it hasn't been updating. So like people are becoming more Google users or adding users to the file share system and whatever it is. And it's not upping down their bill. So of course he's gone now, right? Because we let him go. And here we are now. I have my like director of technology and my manager above. I got Luke and Fred, and we were just on a call for 3 hours trying to dig through and figure stuff out that this kid, I'm not gonna say kid, sorry, this person was working on and didn't document, didn't write anything. We don't even have the API keys that he generated, nor do we even know where the API keys get generated. I texted you about something, but we figured it out.
Right.
Like, because we had to register for a new account because it was under his email or something we didn't even know, right? And we're getting screwed. It's internal. It's not even sabotage, right? Because I just feel like
it wasn't on purpose.
It wasn't on purpose, but also at the same time, the employee did say to me, "Hey, I've done the thing you asked me to do," and then moved on to something else. But like, we never checked it. We went back. We just assumed and trusted this person. And I made a mistake. I made the mistake of putting my trust in this person and believing in what they were saying. And again, this also, and we can lean in on this a little bit, where like it's the balance between like trust and micromanaging, right? Because I don't want to be a micromanager. No one likes a micromanager. The Lego movie taught us that.
So, there's this whole concept of trust but verify, right?
Yeah.
And I think there is a fine line between verification and micromanagement. But I think as management, whether you're the owner, whether you're director of operations, whatever it is, I think there is a fiduciary responsibility, to use the big word, to the organization to verify that employees are doing what they say they do. Now, nirvana is you can tell an employee to do something and they do it and everything works fine. But it's nirvana. It's the perfect case. It's never going to happen, right?
Yeah.
It may happen with the same employee once or twice even, but it's not going to happen over the entire life cycle of that employee in your business because not even their fault, right? Things happen. And also things outside of their control happen, right? Vendors change their APIs and that it can cause things to break after that person left. So you have to have a set of controls in place that are consistently monitoring these things. Now, this is where, automation is awesome. Automation is great, but sometimes it can break. The problem is when you don't know when it breaks. So you have to build in the controls to know when it breaks.
So it's funny that you say this because, and I'm going to put them on blast because I'm a little annoyed by this. We have Halo connected to Auditing, which is our MDM and our lifeblood to all of our computers and to our clients. Mm-hmm. And we were noticing that we weren't getting any more Auditing calls in Halo. And we went to go look at the Auditing integration and the entire integration was gone. Like it was just gone. Like the integration exists in Halo, but like all of our configuration was gone. Like Kaiser's right. The way
your instance of the integration.
Our instance, it just gone, right? So we emailed Halo and we're like, what? And they were like, you have to just recreate it and reconnect everything. And we're like, that's a lot of work. Can you at least like roll us back? Can you find some data? Can you do something? And they're like, we don't have it. And I was like, that makes me mad. right? Like, and the
Yes.
problem is that no one would have even noticed that happened. The only reason we noticed that API that those calls stopped coming in was actually the story that I wanted to tell earlier this week when we found a computer in China. Which I'll give you the quick story and then we'll kind of tie it all together because I think it works. A client computer was reporting low battery. We reached out to the client who has IT. They were like, no, the user says their computer's fine. I go look at it and I realize that because a lot of times the user would keep their old computers when they get new ones.
Right.
So I went to go look and I was like, maybe she has two. Go find out that she has a new one. That's the one that their IT confirmed the battery's fine. And the other one, which was marked as hers, was in China. And I was like, how'd that happen? And they apparently the company got the computer back and they were moving. And so they had the recycling company take a whole bunch of computers. And the recycling company never destroyed the computers. They didn't have a contract with the recycling company. The recycling company never gave proof of destruction. So the recycling company took a bunch of computers, probably threw some in a pocket, shipped them to China. And because we never released them from Apple Business Manager, the device came back online, re-enrolled in their policy, didn't get any data. The client's data safe. We for sure all that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling the story. But came back into our systems in January. And because we don't bill this customer per device, no one noticed because they fluctuate devices on a regular basis. No one even picked up on it, right? So we're setting up secondary controls that if a new device comes online in Auditing, that it will open up we're calling it the 2FA ticket. Like someone else has to confirm that the device is tied to an onboarding. Otherwise, it gets flagged and we have to look into it.
Makes sense.
In order to figure out how to make that webhook work, we had to go look at our integration from Halo to Auditing, only to find out that the Halo to Auditing integration was gone. So yeah, like Halo updated at some point and broke something, and it's like who watches the Watchmen?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we have Lion Guard set up to let us know when Halo updates or something changes, and it sends an alert into our Slack. So we have these things, but like who would have guessed that an update blew out the entire integration around like the key element of our business?
Yeah. And those are the kind of controls that we're talking about, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and there's a variety of them. You can have financial controls in place. That's where a lot of people think of, auditing things and double checking is in the financial controls. But there's operational controls, there's security controls. Obviously, as a manager of your business, owner or somebody else, you have to have those controls in place to make sure. I mean, that's literally your job, is to have those controls in place to make sure that things aren't falling through the cracks.
Yeah, it's weird to think about the fact that like you have these trusted systems. We as MSPs want to believe that the vendors we use are always doing the right thing. And like, not saying that they're not, but I am saying that they think they are, right? Because there have been times, not that I want to keep crapping on Halo, but there was a second instance, this was months ago, that Halo made a change to their Google integration. And basically, if you didn't have a role that was like one of the default roles associated with a user, the user couldn't log into Halo. And all of a sudden, one day, all of the administrators in my company for Halo couldn't log in because when we set up Halo long ago, that role thing didn't exist. And so we gave different namings for the roles that made sense to us. And because it didn't match with this update that they had released, it broke. So like you never know when something's going to break. Actually, even if it breaks for good, here's a good one. ID Agent this past week updated their compromise engine, right? And they alerted us. They said, hey, we're updating our compromise engine. Here's some information about it. And like I saw the notification at the bottom bar of ID Agent and I just kind of like ignored it for a little bit. And then all of a sudden I got an email that one of my clients had 3,000 new dark web hits today. And I was like, what? And so I went in to realize, oh, it's the compliance engine is finding all this old data on top of what we already knew about, which is a good thing, but also just completely blew up. And so, you know what I mean? And like, I can't go to my client and be like, we found 3,000 new dark web hits for users you don't even have anymore. We have to parse through that stuff. So like, vendors are doing things right because they're adding more security. They're adding certain protocols. They're trying to enhance their offerings, but it may backlash against the things that you already have in place. And you as an MSP owner need to be fluid enough to like go through that and deal with it. You know what I mean? The controls that you talk about here, I mean, the problem is, right, in my head, I'm like, okay, well, we have a control to watch this automation, but what if the control breaks, right? Like, we need a control for the control to watch the automation, you know?
You can only do so much.
This is like the thing of like, all the computers that are connected to the cloud are really just connected to Jeff Bezos's home computer if you track it all back or something like that. It's annoying. It's annoying and it frustrates every one of us. And I guarantee you, everyone who's listening has had something similar to one of these two stories happen to them, because like, this isn't what we want to be doing. Like, we as MSPs set off to help companies, help people with their computers. Right. And we get thrusted into this operational stuff all the time. Now, granted, I do say often, like, I'm an entrepreneur first, a technologist second. I like the business operation things. What I don't like is finding out that something that was written for my company, a program, an API call, a webhook, an automation, whatever, that was supposed to save us time has now not saved us time and also now lost me money.
Right.
And that's what really gets me, because who knows how much money MSPs are leaving on the table by not doing, like you said, trust but verify. And so there's just, but like, you can't spend all day auditing.
No, you can't. And that's where you've got this weird, you've got to ride a line of how much time do you spend doing this? Because while yes, it will catch things that are costing you money, obviously, like the things that you've caught in the last 24 hours. But how often does that happen? It doesn't happen that often. And so you could be wasting a lot of cycles doing auditing that don't get you enough, except for these rare occasions.
And you know what the other problem is? That, like, let's say you audit every month and you've got the last 4 to 5 months, you're like, everything's been status quo. And the 6 months, you're like, I'm not going to do it. 7th month, you're not going to do it. 8th month, you're not going to do it. Guess what happened in that 7th month? Something broke, right? It's Murphy's Law. It's you know, Mercury's in retrograde. Like, as soon as something went wrong on Monday, I immediately went to Slack, and because we have a thing in Slack that tells us if Mercury's in retrograde, and I was like, is Mercury in retrograde? And it was like, no. And I was like, man, I don't know what the hell's happening. You know, like, it's not, it's the fear of unknown blended with the not wanting to be a micromanager, and then being able to pivot on a dime when you find something wrong without it being a long-lasting problem. Because I literally said to my team today, I was like, this is what pisses me off the most, is the fact that this one customer, and we have plenty more. And actually, I think I've mentioned this on the show before, because we had when PAX 8 updated their pricing for something and we weren't charging them the extra $2. If this, and I know for a fact there's more than one customer in this particular situation right now, like, how much money have I lost from my P&L? And I'm not going to go back charge my customers, because it's not their fault.
No, it's really difficult, and it really harms the relationship.
Exactly.
And it shows that you're not on top of your stuff.
Exactly. We're sending them all an email today saying, hey, we've noticed that our automated billing tool for this product has not been working. We're truing you up. You may see an increase or decrease in your bill next month because obviously there's some where it went down and they haven't contacted us. And there's some cases where it went up. And so we're saying it may have gone up or down. We're sorry. We're not going to back bill you. You're going to get a new bill on your next recurring date. And it's going to be 15 or 30 or 60 or $100 different. And you're going to just accept it for what it is because you got away with not paying us $100 for the last 3, 4, 5 months. Right. And everybody's happy. So it's so annoying, though. It's just so annoying because we trusted this employee to do stuff. Yeah. It did not get verified. It did not get documented, which we've talked about before, which SOPs rule your business. As boring as they are. And again, though, I have the same problem where like if you do the SOP and someone follows it 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, they're like on the 10th time, they're like, I got it. And then on the 11th time, something changes, right? It becomes we have to become almost robotic to following the SOP as opposed to robotic of memorizing the SOP and just doing what you know from memory. But it's that same thing. It's you have to be on top of it. And there's so many of us out there that just aren't. And you know what? I'll be on that boat with you because clearly I'm not on top of it, which questions why I'm still the host of this show. But it's mainly just because I'm funny. But, it's also how you deal with the situation. How are you rectifying it? And so Luke and Fred, we made a project ticket and we listed the top 10 things that are broken. We organized them in order of importance, and we divvied it up. And now, granted, the 10th item on the list was the only one that I could do because I don't understand APIs and webhooks and all that stuff very well, and I'm learning. But I was like, okay, if we have 10 things and there's 3 of us, let me get as much off your plate as I can, and I'll knock out the low-hanging fruit, and you guys work on the harder things. Because if I can keep the noise away from you while you work on the harder thing, we can get that done faster.
Yeah.
And that's just the
turnabout. That's a good way to look at it.
That's the turnabout. And they both know that stuff needs to be documented. So we're pulling out the custom build and we're putting everything in Roost where we can put documentation and we have the Roost team behind us. But that being said, we're putting a lot of effort into Roost right now. What if Roost goes away?
I think you're pretty safe with that one.
You must know something I don't know. Were they backed by Jeff Bezos?
No, I know some of the founders. I know how it was developed, and I know some partners who have been using it for a while and are happy with it, and it just works.
It's funny. Roost alerts in our Slack, and we named our Roost bot Katsu, Katsu, because chicken katsu is a delicious Japanese dish, and I was like, this is the perfect name. So. I mean, that's where we're at, right? As the MSP owner, we have to find that fine line between trust but verify, and micromanaging. We have to really empower our teams to want to document. And if they don't want to, find another way to get that stuff documented, whether that is do a Zoom call and just record it so you have it, have a AI transcribe it, or have the closed captioning in Zoom record it, or don't get the Zoom AI recap is very easily tricked if you have multiple people in the company with the same name. Played this the other day with my friends. We all changed our name to Justin just to see what the AI bot came back with, and its head exploded. So get that documentation down, especially if it's going to be core pieces of your business that are going to affect things like billing.
Yeah. So I think that, my takeaway from this is, and obviously this is going to be a little bit of sarcasm. The person who's not going to complain about being micromanaged is AI, and the person who's going to follow an SOP every single time is an AI. But unless they hallucinate, of course.
Yeah.
We all know happens.
Yeah.
Watch out for your job being taken over by AI if you're not actually doing your job.
I don't know about that. We'll talk about that one.
That's why.
We'll talk about that one another one. All right. Well, listen, if you've had a problem with documentation or custom things within your business, we want to hear from you. We want to know. We want to know what's going on. Drop us a note at facebook.com/groups/allthingsmsp. Follow us on our high def glory and look at Eric's unkempt beard today at youtube.com/allthingsmsp. Follow us on your favorite podcasting tools. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. You know what to do. I don't need to tell you anymore. If you're going to be at ASMC, which is part of the ASCII conference, October 27th, I'll be there speaking on imposter syndrome. The week after, if you're going to be at IT Nation in Orlando, which is November 5th, 6th, and 7th, I'm speaking on the 6th at 9 a.m. about fear and growing past your business. And if you're going to be at Channel Pro Networks in Irvine, California, November 12th, 13th, 14th, something like that, I will be on 2 panels there. Come say hi. Tell me you've heard us on the show and which episode's been your favorite. Actually, just side note, somebody hit me up on LinkedIn the other day and was like, I just started my MSP and I listened and watched your show. And I was like, that's awesome. She's like, I took in so much. And I was like, I feel bad for you.
You know what? The same thing happened to me. I was at Team Logic this week, and a couple came up to me, and, we were just talking about Ignite, and they're like, wait, you're Eric. You're from that show we watched. We downloaded a whole bunch of podcasts. We had like a 10-hour drive, and we did nothing but listen to your podcasts during that drive. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
At the same time, we love it. Go ahead and listen. Go listen to the back catalog. We want to know. Let us know your favorite episode. You know what to do. Anyway, that's Eric. I'm Justin. Bye.
Thank you for listening or watching the All Things MSP podcast. If you liked this episode, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Hit that like button and consider subscribing to catch all our weekly episodes. And from your host extraordinaire, Justin Esgar, and myself, Eric Anthony, your humble producer and All Things MSP founder, thank you very much for spending your time with us. If you are not aware, All Things MSP started as a Facebook group and now supports over 6,000 members. We also have a LinkedIn page for those of you who don't do Facebook, and make sure to check out our YouTube channel for even more content. And a big thank you to our premier sponsors, EasyDmark, Helped, GoZinta, MoveBot, and Nodeware. And thank you to the rest of our sponsors. Without sponsors, we could not do what we do for the MSP community. Please consider checking them out. The All Things MSP podcast is a BizPow LLC production. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of any employer, vendor, sponsor, or random taxi driver in the Metro DC area. Be sure to join us next week for another exciting episode.